Family events, we want to do things like, cotton candy, snow cones, face painting. We'd like to, with the city's permission, maybe dump 14 tons of sand on the street, bury quarters in it, and let the kids dig and spelunk for change, kind of a treasure hunt. We're considering a 3-on-3 tournament, a mechanical bull, things of that nature. And then again, for the evening, we've got Artifact and Paramount already secured for Saturday night. If we can't do it on the street, we can't, then those we can put there at the brewery. And we're visiting with Lost Wax again. In fact, we expect to have a contract back from them today for Friday's night performance. Then we'll have probably a country perform. We're talking to Rice County Line, Gordy Pettipaws, for an opening act on Friday night. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Are you doing 2 blocks this time?
2 blocks. So the idea here is kind of like we've grown the brewery. We keep having people talk to us about the old Hutch Fest, and we're kind of slowly growing it. And as long as the sport's there, and as long as it doesn't cause problems, we'll consider to ask the city. If it works well this year, maybe we'll look a little bigger next year yet. We'll just kind of see how things go. So yes, the block of the 400 block would be more the family events. Both blocks will be blocked off with concrete barriers to prevent traffic. They will be open to foot traffic. The 400 block will be open to foot traffic the entire time. The 500 block in front of the brewery at 6 o'clock at night would be fenced off then. And we probably will have a cover charge for the beer and the concert part. The rest will be free to the public. So
I missed Hutch Fest. Hutch Fest was great.
we've heard a lot of that, and would like to see if we can't
Baby
reignite
steps,
it. So.
yeah.
Well, I'd make a motion to approve the resolution authorizing the Salt City Fest event, June 2nd and 3rd, 2023, as a special event pursuant to Code Section 18-801, and authorize the mayor to sign.
I second.
Please call roll.
Goss,
Yes.
Fast,
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Peter.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Next item, please.
Item 7B, consider ordinance rezoning property at Avenue B in Lorraine.
Real quick, council, we had problems with the audio part of the live stream. It's now back up, but we missed all the proclamation pieces, and I apologize to anybody that technology sometimes just doesn't work. You all have computers and phones, and Paul's over there nodding at me. So I apologize, but it's back up.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, could you reread them, Paul?
Couldn't you have waited just a couple more minutes, Todd? Jim Sightnader, Interim Planning Director, here to present a rezoning request that was approved at the Planning Commission. It has to do with kind of a unique property. Okay. Todd's getting even with me, I think. There we go. Whoa. Okay, the 2 properties in question are 1427 East Avenue B, and then an empty parcel that's right across the street on Lorraine Street. It's basically the 2 corners of B Street and Lorraine Street. It's the home or former home of the AMVETS Club, and it's a residentially zoned area, and back in the day the fraternal clubs could be zoned in residential areas, and you see that a lot around the community. Places like the Eagles Lodge and places like that were always in residential neighborhoods. When Brad Pryor listed the property, because of some information on the Beacon website, it was listed as an industrial property, when in fact it really was a residential property. And it's pretty easy to understand. This slide, I think, really demonstrates, you can see the two black arrows that are pointing to the two properties, but when the Ken Kennedy Freeway 61 bypass was put through the community, it kind of island off that piece of the residential area. And as Lorraine Street kind of moved, it moved much more towards industrial and commercial type uses. That brings us to the reason why we need to rezone is currently it is R6 zoning. And again, this is an issue that we want to explain, but the future land use still looked at that as residential type area. And I think that's one of the things our planning commission wants to work on through the summer. But we have a number of pockets of areas that are zoned one way, but really in real life could be used in a different way and eliminate a lot of our issues and violations, I believe. But that's for another day. But this is a good example of that. As you see, looking at the empty lot, that shows you the looking towards the northwest. East of the property, there's several buildings that have to do with the grain industry, and so the area is definitely more commercial, more industrial, but the area, that little block, is still really nice residential areas, brick streets. It'd really be a nice place to be. So as the Planning Commission studied this, the issue really was, what is the right thing to do? We didn't want a spot zone, but we did want to kind of make a buffer between the residential uses that are there and then the industrial things that are basically on the east side of Lorraine and to the south. And so in working with PEC, we came up with the commercial C4 is really more of a buffer between the two varying zones, and that would be the best way to go and make the properties more marketable. And so Brad, sorry, he cannot be here today. He's out of state, so he would speak much more eloquently on that piece of it. But for your decision, you need to know that all the factors are met except for factor 8, and that is conformance to the comprehensive plan. It does not meet that at this point. So there was a lot of discussion at the Planning Commission, but all in attendance agreed that this was the best way to handle it, kind of creating a buffer between the residential to the west and the industrial to the east. So I would ask for your approval of the recommendation from the Planning Commission, and then also approve the accompanying resolution that will change the official zoning map.
Thank you. Do either of you have any questions for Mr. Sightnader?
I have a couple of questions. Some of them you answered. So Avenue A is still residential. Was there any objection from any of the property owners to changing this or moving forward with this project?
No, we heard no one was at the public meeting in opposition. We received no comment through the office. Did have one question from Clint Nelson at Interfaith Housing, but he was in agreement that that's probably the best way to handle it, is to create that buffer, keeping the corners commercial and then the rest of that block in residential.
And in your pictures, there's a sidewalk, albeit not a super pretty nice one, but there's a sidewalk and along the other street. Will the new zoning requirement change, or will the new zoning change any of the requirement for the sidewalk, or will the sidewalk be maintained?
I believe the sidewalk will be maintained. I think the most likely buyer would like to use the building itself as kind of office space and things for the business, and then eventually use the vacant lot as kind of a yard for storage of materials and a shed-like building on that property.
And it says that there's going to be a 6 foot, minimum 6 foot solid fence. So that seems in line with the residential requirements.
Yes, it'd either be a fence or a line of trees or some sort of a buffering mechanism to soften that transition.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
I don't.
That's the long one. I move to approve ordinance amending the zoning map referred to in section 27-402 of chapter 27 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Hutchinson as adopted by ordinance number 7518 and repealing certain parts of the original zoning map as designated in section 27-402 and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second?
Please call roll.
Goss,
Yes.
Fast,
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Item 8A, consider approval of 2023-2024 Emergency Solutions Grant Application.
Good morning, Jim Seitnader again. I'm here just to introduce Sue Ray, who will explain the Bright House project a lot better. But the city acts as the recipient of the money from the state, and then we pass it on through to Bright House for their operations. And they do a great job and a really important service for the community.
Good morning, Ms. Ray.
Morning. Thank you for letting me speak for a moment. I'm never sure how much people know about Bright House because it's not a topic most of us want to know a lot about until we need it. So I'm going to kind of give an overview of what we do, and then I'll let you ask questions if you have any, so I won't go into too much detail. So I'm supposed to say my name and my address, aren't I? So Sue Ray and 222 West 17th Avenue. Bright House is a nonprofit organization, and we serve survivors of domestic abuse and sexual assault in Reno, Rice, Kingman, and Harper counties. So it's a strip that runs just north of Reno County all the way down to the Oklahoma border. We also serve a lot of people with stalking issues. It gets worse, it seems like, every week. Stalking's very common now, and also with human trafficking. Every county in Kansas is covered by an organization like ours. We're accredited through KCSDV, that's a group in Topeka, and our services are 100% free, 100% confidential, and 100% voluntary. We served 740 survivors in 2022, and there were 6,465 total services provided, and of those people, 584 were here in Reno County. In 2022, we had 79 people in shelter. 25 of those were children, and we housed a total of 2,167 nights. As of this morning, we have 3 adults and 5 kids in shelter. So we're not quite full, but we're busy. So the Emergency Solutions Grant that we're here about this morning is an important part of our shelter budget. It's about $40,000, and that helps pay for our 24-hour staff. Our staff is there all day, every day at the shelter, and then they also answer our crisis line, and that's a 24-hour line. And yesterday morning, we added a text-only process. So that will help once people find out about it some more. But a lot of people can't call, and a lot of young people don't call. So that will be a helpful thing. We've been working with city staff. They're wonderful. They really do a good job. They help us out a lot. And what we've been working with Jim to do is simplify the grant process, especially the management side, so that it will take less time for city staff. So I think we've got that down pretty well now. And We also place domestic violence survivors in new homes whenever possible. We offer them assistance with budgeting, job searches, the first month of rent when possible. And in 2022, we had 7 survivors that we helped. And so far this year, we've already put 5 people in new homes. So it's going to be a busy year that way. We just help people till we run out of money is usually what we've done. We also just started offering help to domestic violence victims who have pets. National statistics show that 50% of the people who need to leave their homes because they are being abused don't, because they don't want to leave their pets behind. And our personal experience has been that when they do have to leave their pets behind, the cruelty is really horrible. So we got a grant from the Stallman Foundation, and we use that to offer vet services, boarding, some different things, so that when people want to leave but they have an animal that they're very close to, we can get them out at the same time. And so we're going to put up some small building of some type at our shelter so we can have the animals there. So hopefully that will remove some barriers to people getting help and also reduce some cruelty. And spring is when things get busier at Bright House, and this year that's proving true. A lot of people come to us for help. It's not just women. Men are abused, and a lot of times men are abused and they've been taught not to fight back. So if they're being abused by a female, they are in real trouble sometimes, so they come to us for assistance and we help them. Senior citizens often come to us for help. They're often being victimized by their children, especially if the children have developed drug problems. But we help everyone who is suffering abuse, including those who are being financially or emotionally abused, so it doesn't have to be physical. But we do very much appreciate the ESG grant. It really helps us with our shelter operations. About 10% of the people who come to us for help need shelter, but they need it very much. So we're really grateful for the assistance. Do you have any questions?
Who filled out this gigantic grant application?
Well, Jim did part of it, and Jason Depew, who's our grant coordinator, did part of it, and I did part of it. So
Well, looks like quite a comprehensive application.
fascinating reading, really, isn't it?
I got tired and didn't read the whole
I
thing,
can
but
understand.
I appreciate your work, Sue, and I'm glad to know you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
I also did not read the entire grant application. How many years have you guys received this grant or this type of grant?
You know, I am not quite sure, but it's been a number. It's been like at least 6, I think. I've been there 2 years, so I kind of went back. We went back to see, and it looks like at least 6. So, and it's offered. It's a division of HUD. It's HUD money, but it's different, sort of a different branch of HUD. So,
Thank you.
I don't have any questions for you.
okay, thank you.
I move to approve the 2023-2024 Emergency Solutions Grant application and supporting documentation and authorize the mayor to sign any necessary documents.
I'll second that.
Call roll, please.
Goss,
Yes.
Vast,
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes. Next item, please.
Item 8B, consider bid results for arterial street maintenance program.
Good morning, Council. How are y'all doing today? So we have the arterial street maintenance project that bid. It is going to be an ultra-thin bonded asphalt surfacing that we will be putting on 30th Avenue from Waldron to Main Street. The section that was last done in 2014. The street, after the reason that I selected it was looking back at the historical data. I noticed that the mill and overlays had been done in 1994, 2002, and 2014. So at 8 and 12 years. And at our last 12-year mill and overlay, we had to do some extensive base work because it had started, the surface had started raveling so bad. So looking at the surfaces, it's still in really good condition. And so we decided to go with this. It's a 5/8 inch thick. It's like a little armor coating. It's what we have it on Avenue A and on K61. And the thought is I think we can double the life expectancy of the road. KDOT has had extremely good luck with this material. And so and it's about half the price of a full mill and overlay, which is the typical treatment. So on Tuesday, April 25th, 2023, the city received 2 bids for this project. The engineer's estimate was $830,000. The approved budget for the year is $1.365 million. The low bid was $934,076.35. City staff recommends the city council accept the low bid and authorize the mayor to sign the contract with APAC Kansas in the amount of $934,076.35. You have any further questions?
Thank you. Is there any estimated life expectancy numbers on this?
It varies depending on the base. Now, this one has a really good base. KDOT is on the highways that I looked at. The one on Avenue A is just coming apart, and was put on 2013. The traffic volume is a little bit lower there, but the movements are similar. And so the average life expectancy of a UBAS is somewhere between 8 and 12 years.
Okay.
Jeff, how does this compare to the surface that we're getting ready to put down in downtown? Is it the same?
No, so this is a little bit more expensive. So the other one is a Cape seal or Cape-ish seal that we're putting in the downtown area. That's going to be similar to the sports arena parking lot. This one is what it is they put down a thin layer of oil, and then they put down 5/8 inch of asphalt with an extremely hard aggregate. Basically, when the oil goes down, when the asphalt goes on top of it, it pulls the oil up and then it seizes and makes an extremely protective coating. The other thing about UBAS that's a little bit different is you don't get road spray. So in rain events, the water actually goes through the aggregate. So if you're following behind a semi, you aren't sitting there just constantly getting drenched from the rain. It's just a little bit, It was actually developed by, I believe it was Road Science.
It's got a little porosity to it.
But it used to be called Nova Chip. But that's, I think they have a patent or copyright on the name. So
Interesting. Any other questions on this?
If this part is successful, is there a plan to do this exact same type of overlay in the rest of the city or on any other streets?
and I'm a big fan of, cheaper overlays. This is more of a preventative maintenance, which is
Okay.
always ideal. So an ideal world, with all the great funding, and we don't have to jump to streets that are falling apart. Yes, I would love to turn and take it all the way down Main Street as well. These large corridors eat up a large amount of our funding when we have to go into the mill and overlay, and so
Well, we'll be watching. I move to approve the low bid from APAC Kansas in the amount of $934,076.35 and authorize the mayor to sign the contract.
I second.
Please call roll.
Goss,
Yes.
Fast.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes. Next item, please.
Item 8C, consider bid results for the Woody Seat Phase 1 project.
Hello. So today I'm bringing the bid results for the Woody Seat Phase 1 project. This project will consist of several components. The county has a portion of the project of this large project. They are doing partial depth and full depth repairs on the bridge over the Arkansas River, while we are doing a mill and overlay of the Woody Seat from the Arkansas River to the Avenue C bridge. We are also tearing out and replacing all of the approach slabs because of a design fault in them. And then we are rubbleizing the concrete aprons that go down the sides of the roadway. We're also removing that raised median that goes all the way down. It'll be maintained on the bridges at this time, but eventually that will completely go away to keep up with current design standards. On Thursday, April 20th, 2023, the city received 1 bid for this project. The engineer's estimate was $3,476,984.20. The low bid was $4,101,411.44. The city staff recommends the city council accept the low bid and authorize the mayor to sign the contract with APAC Kansas in the amount of $4,101,411.44.
All right, I have questions.
Yeah.
All right, just to clarify, does this include the bridge at Avenue C, or is it
This is-
south
It
of
is,
the bridge?
it is south of the bridge. We will be, the south approach slab up to the bridge will be removed and replaced. Then the intention to finish out Woody Seat is, this is the first phase. Second phase is the roundabout. And then a third phase is actually be necessary, and that is to do the partial and full depth repairs on Avenue C whenever we have the capacity to get that budgeted.
And the grant that was received, we're paying the costs, and then we'll be asking for reimbursement from those grant
Yes,
funds
we-
through the county?
Through this, no, the county, we got a cost share grant with the county
Okay.
from the state. The state is giving us $1.5 million for this project. The city receiving 900,000, the county receiving 600,000. Both of them are covering about 60-40 on the project, or what was estimated to be 60-40. So as we make the payments, once we pay the contractor, then I immediately send out for reimbursement to KDOT, and they immediately send the cost share money back.
As I understand it, we approached the contractor with any ideas on how we could save a little bit more.
Yes,
Okay. Never hurts to ask.
right.
Was there anyone else that showed an interest in bidding on this job?
Pearson Construction was the only other one that had shown interest.
They just no bid it.
Their schedule is too full, and we pushed the schedule to be a little bit aggressive, which may have cost a little bit more as well. And the intention was to hopefully not have too much overlap between this and the next phase of Main Street construction, being as how that could start early next year as well. We don't like putting contractors butting up in construction zones and traffic control.
Any questions from either of you on this?
I move to approve the bid from APAC Kansas and authorize the mayor to sign the contract in the amount of $4,101,411.44, subject to all legal requirements.
I second that.
Please call roll.
Ross,
Yes.
Fast,
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes, thank you, Jeff. All right, next item, please.
Item 9, report of city officials.
We usually start with you, don't we?
You always
I'm
do.
sorry. We'll start with Mr. Fast today.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot. I would just like to remind folks of the youth fair that was already mentioned. And it would be good to see a little bit of support on the third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. for their meeting. I think that's it.
All right, thank you. Ms. Goss?
I agree with what he said. The youth fair looks like a good opportunity to not only support the efforts of the youth council and what they are trying to accomplish, but also if you do have activities or an opportunity for youth to be employed in the community, I would strongly encourage vendors to attend. I don't think I have much to report. I dare say it's been a slow couple weeks for myself. I was contacted by a constituent about minimum utility billing, which I'm having a couple conversations about that this week. And just kind of assessing what's the current practice and if that is the best practice. And we had the cleanup, the citywide cleanup this over the past weekend. From what I have been told, it was a success. There was a lot of stuff picked up. Maybe John has actual numbers. No? Okay. Lots of stuff picked up. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Usually I refer to social media as a dumpster fire, but in the case of events, there's a lot going on in May in Hutchinson. I would encourage people to get on any City of Hutchinson Facebook page or any other group Facebook page, because you got Cinco de Mayo, you got the Youth Fair, you've got the National Day of Prayer this week. there's just a lot going on over the next month in Hutchinson, and I would encourage people to get out and get involved. Other than that, I don't have anything. We are not going into an executive session, I understand.
We're not prepared with the numbers that we need to have that discussion. That will come to you at a later date.
Okay, then I guess we'll move on to item 11. I'm doing your job for you, Linda. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second?
Would you call roll, please?
Goss,
Yes.
Fast,
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes, thank you, everybody.